Yes, Hickok 45 with that annoying music again, coming to you from the beautiful hills. Yes, I'm your internet companion. Don't forget that, shooting companion. Coming to you from Tennessee, beautiful hills of Tennessee, the home of Davy Crockett. Leave it at that. How's that? One of my heroes, Davy Crockett. Yes, glad to be here on a Sunday morning. And I know you're glad to be anywhere as well, right? On a Sunday morning. We should all be glad to be somewhere, and I guess we'll be somewhere for a long time, maybe thousands of years. But it's especially nice to be somewhere and to be aware of it and be conscious, right? Yeah, minor difference there. You see that space age gun? How wild is that? That looked like me. Yeah, man. Gold barrel, gold trigger. Look at that. Lightning cuts, I guess. I don't know. And well, it's not the slide, just the gun, right? The rail. So anyway, the tube. Yeah, I picked this up this week, Ruger Mark IV. And it's a Ruger made by Ruger. Yeah, it's one of those. Lite. It's a Lite. Ruger Lite Mark IV. Tactical, too. It's tactical. I think it's called the tactical. The 2245 Lite. Tactical, I think. Yeah, tactical. At any rate, it's pretty cool. I didn't have one of these, and you know, gosh, how many of you all have had some version of this? I mean, these things, or the Mark One, did they call it Mark One, or was it just the first one? But I mean, it came out what in the 40s, 48 or 49 or something, I think, before 1950, and they've just, you know, been cranking all these years. One of the most successful firearms ever made, and no telling how many of them made. I think, in fact, a friend was out shooting with me. He was looking at the serial number. I said, could this be right? It's got a 500 million serial number. I know my numbers. Yeah, there's 9 digits there. 500 is the first 3. So unless that's just some random number, it would be 500,398,600 and something. So that's a lot of guns if they've made that many, right? That's more than I could make in my garage in a couple of months. So no, I don't make guns in my garage, ATF. That was a joke. So anyway, I just felt like it was a little bit un-American. I was being unpatriotic by not having a Mark IV or a Mark III or a Mark II or a Mark V. Actually, I had a Mark IV I bought. Let's see, was I doing videos then? I think so, maybe not. A Hunter, it's called the Hunter, big stainless steel Hunter, fluted barrel. Beautiful gun. Beautiful gun. I'm so glad to get that. And I was clueless. Imagine me being clueless. I really was. I was ignorant as to the difficulties in breaking these things down and putting them back together, field stripping them. I didn't know. I'd never heard anybody talking about it that I knew. I think I knew one person that might have had one. I never heard him talk about it. He probably never broke his down. No, he did. And he's the kind of guy that figured it out, and just, you know, it's been simple for him. Very mechanically inclined. But I looked it up and how to break that thing down, field strip it, put it back together. By the time I got it apart and then back together after cleaning it, I thought, you know what, I think we had been doing videos because I had done some other 22s, had exposure to some others that were really simple to take down, like I think the Browning Buckmaster maybe, and another one. And when I took that thing apart and put it back together, you know, life doesn't have to be this complicated. Yeah, I could get the hang of it. I could learn to do it and it wouldn't be such a job. But I don't want to get the hang of it. This is bizarre. I don't want to get the hang of this. And I sold it or traded it to somebody for something. And over the years, I've been thinking about, oh, how I missed that beautiful 22. Nice, the Hunter, big gun, not exactly a carry pistol. And I need to get one of these one someday. And that's really the one I thought I had in the back of my mind, just replace that with the Mark IV, because we've done a review of the Mark IV. And I don't know, was it the Hunter or something? And and oh my gosh, and we're clear. It's just a matter pushing this button back here, and let's see, do you have to have the safety on? Yeah, and it just comes right apart, and then right back together. It's been so long, I didn't really mess with it much, but the button, now it's back together. I mean, they redesigned it, and if you didn't know that, surely you do if you have a Mark III or something, or I guess it's not just I guess all the Mark IVs are like this, a redesign, right? Unless the early Mark, I think it's the Mark IV, all of them, when they went to the new design, I believe. So anyway, yeah, you've been struggling. I'm sure a lot of the earlier models have been traded in on these. They got so many configurations of it, so many, incredible. And one reason I wanted one with a threaded barrel was I did not own a 22 with a threaded barrel, really, and that's been on my my to-do list as well, as just as a rifle with a threaded barrel, and 22 is also on my to-do list. And just haven't done it. Got some cool suppressors, and I just kind of at a loss when it comes to 22. At least I was. And so that's one of the things I wanted to be able to do, even if it didn't look so hot. Well, I made the decision. I'm going to get a Mark IV. Tired of not having one with a threaded barrel, and looked at them a little bit, online. And I'm not going to be real particular. Just one that I like, feels good. And I went into a little gun shop near me, and they had this. And I was like, well, that's maybe not one out of a list of 35 that I would select. I don't know. I'm kind of a, like good old wood and steel and maybe a traditional look, but maybe not on this, because I'm looking for one I can suppress, and it felt good, and I don't know, it's not all that offensive, really. Kind of cool. And I bought it, and got one at least already, and two I have, actually. Yeah, picked up another one yesterday. I got about 3 more coming in that hopefully we can do some videos with them, enjoy them before it gets too cold. January, December or January, I want to be doing that. That's why you see a lot of videos that were done like right now, in January, February. I don't want to be out when it's 20 degrees. I shoot for fun. Like many of you. You don't have to shoot. I don't either. I do it for fun, even this, So I am not going to freeze just to do a video. Probably. Okay. All right. Can I shoot this? Why not? Do I need my ears? I don't know, do I? Let's take the safety off. I put it on to take it down. I think maybe the safety has to be on up, the thumb safety. Maybe not. Maybe that was just me. But that's why it was on. I'm quietly take out the cowboy. Yeah. Oh, he got a loud breastplate, doesn't he? Let's quietly take out a bowling pin. Yeah, I can do that more quietly. Come on. I might need to move. I haven't messed with the sights, but I might have to. I suspect it I've been shooting it. That's why I didn't save it for, first shots kind of thing, where you all see me shoot it for the first time, because I have shot it a couple times. And I was suspecting the sights might be might need a little adjustment on elevation. So I have my screwdriver with me in case I do tweak it a little bit. In fact, I think it shoots a little low, which means I need to raise the rear sight in order to align it with where it's hitting, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do that a little bit, because I was pretty sure last time I shot it that I didn't have a screwdriver handy. I'm going the right way. Just a little bit there. Okay, yeah. So here I am. What are y'all doing? Oh yeah, and I also want to thank the Sonoran Desert Institute, sdi.edu, for their support of the channel. Okay, sdi.edu. Use your GI Bill and learn some firearms technology, gunsmithing. Get on the road. Really, really good support of the channel, and a great place to further your education, or maybe start it, right? Okay, let's take a shot. Let's see, because I think on the gong, well, I don't know where I was going. Maybe we get an idea here. Okay, I think I was holding about the middle when I hit. What do you think, Pumpkin? Let's put some, sound like I'm being affectionate with it. What do you think, Pumpkin? Pumpkin baby? Smack, smack. Poof, 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 poof. 22 subsonic ammo and something like this is fun. It really is. Yeah, man. I've already ordered some magazines. I got 5 mags for it. 2 came with it from Mag. You know, they're not a sponsor, but I end up looking at Mag Warehouse, .com, I guess, and I had pretty good luck finding mags from them, just for y'all's edification. Again, I don't have any connection with them, but or I'll pick them up in a gun shop. I try to support local gun shops when I'm in gun shops. If there's a magazine I need, you know, some carry ammo or just something that they have, I'll buy it there, or gun. But especially if they have a magazine, like you know, one of these hanging there. I wanted to get these quickly. I wasn't sure where to look and run around and all over town, and so I went ahead and ordered 3. But I'll look, and anytime I'm in a gun shop that has a good selection of magazines, I'll stop. Ooh, man, I guess that was a yellow jacket. Wow, he was gigantic. I will stop and think, okay, what mags do I need? Do I need another magazine for something, or something we're going to be reviewing, or whatever it might be, and so I can just buy it there. But yeah, that's a pretty neat little gun, and it's not malfunctioned yet. Been firing a variety of ammo. This is some kind of a suppressed ammo, Federal, I think, American Eagle, but their help. And then of course Alabama holster. I got 2 of them on me. Alabama holster, pocket holsters, phone holsters, inside the waistband, outside the waistband, purse holsters, you name it, belt holsters. I mean, everything you can imagine. You see what I've got? Got my FN reflex and my Alabama holster. And I really like it. So, what else? Also, I tell you, we got some new targets, paper targets from Gun Fun Targets. They really help us out with that. Okay. And I'm all ready with my Talon grips, as you saw on my gun, and I'm going to spray this thing down with some ballistol as soon as I wrap it up. All right. Can I shoot again? I think I have another magazine. What was I? Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. Most of you probably have seen the. Well, not most, but I told you I might just sit down and answer some questions in the woods. That's what I did this week, right? And wow, it doesn't take much skimming through comments to find things that I would like to answer, that I often do answer, or that I could save and answer in one of those, or a comment, or whatever. I mean, geez, I could do nothing but that. Nobody'd watch it, that's all I did, but I could just sit and talk about things that you all talk about or want to know about, and all that kind of, it's interesting. I enjoy that. I might not when it's 25 degrees, but I enjoy doing that. So yeah, no, don't do that. I've already gathered questions for the next one whenever I do that, you know, some. So something I was going to say about that. Well, like I said, I think in that video that if you have a question, I'm not just fishing for easy questions like, look, I'm really dumb, I'm really ignorant, give me the easy second grade question, please. It's not that. Maybe it is. It's there are so many questions that I see that people ask, and they'll ask, well, what do you think of the French fill in the blank, whatever it is, and how it compares with the Romanian something, you know, and I've not heard of either one of those firearms, you know. So that's why I think I mentioned last Sunday to, if you have a question that maybe you'd like for me to address, that you know, especially questions that you know it's right up my alley. I mean, the low-hanging fruit, I want to, you know, get those especially, you know, okay? If you have any of those, just when I say low-hanging fruit, like something that maybe I've not talked about, but you just know from seeing the videos that, oh gosh, he would know this, or he would have an opinion on this. You know, it's not just factual stuff. I'm fully ready to give my opinion, anything, you know, almost anything, but firearms especially, you know. If I have an opinion, if I know enough about it to have an opinion, I try not to have too strong an opinion on things I don't know much about, you know. And that's a problem we have in the world, right? As I've said before, it seems like the strongest opinions often come from the most ignorant people. That's why my opinions are always so strong. Okay, calm down. What else do I have? Oh, I know what I have. I got to shoot it. Can I do it? Can I load it and shoot it? You don't even know what I have out here yet, do you? Well, I wanted to shoot this some more. Just got it, show you and everything. I found this gun in my safe. I didn't know I had. Yeah, I didn't know I had this thing. It's a 45-70 Browning 1886. Just kidding. Most of you have seen it probably. And I just realized I haven't fired this thing for a while, and it is a beauty. I always have 45-70 on my brain. I tell you, when it comes time to do a Sunday shoot around, whatever day of the week it is, or you know, nice weather like today or whatever, and I'm thinking about, oh, what would I like to shoot? What do I want to get out to shoot today? And 90% of the time, my brain runs through my 45-70 playlist, my 45-70 collection. It really does. Okay, because I'm always in a mood for that. You know, it's like if you're in the mood for something to drink, you know, your favorites always come to mind. And no, I'm gonna get something different, or just have a glass of water, or whatever it is. But yeah, okay, do I want to shoot a 45-70? Okay, if not, what else am I going to do that's not as much fun? No, I do. 45-70s are always on my mind. I do have a couple of them. So this one, oh boy, what a beaut. If you're brand new, I bought this in 87, 1986, 87. And it came out as a centennial version, celebration, whatever, of the 1886. Makes sense. They brought it out in 1986. Browning did. Remake of it, and yeah, it's made by Morocco. I always mix them up. What is it? Well, I don't know. You know, actually their name is not on this. Yeah, just Morgan, Browning Arms Company, Morgan, Utah, on here, made in Japan. I'm not sure it's Morocco. I guess Morocco, but this thing is built like a bank vault. I hate to say it, made in Japan, because I grew up when made in Japan meant cheap, but I mean, it's probably made better than the original Winchesters. It's a solid bank vault, has been, for the time I've had it, which is over 35 years. Yeah, we did an anniversary thing on it recently, not all that long ago. So, can I put some bullets in it and shoot the dumb thing? Yeah, this is a nice one, in the mood to fire it. You know, I bought this before our Tennessee senator invented the internet, and so I had seen an article on it somewhere, one of the gun magazines. I think I still have that magazine and that article. I read that article about 5 times, and a picture of this thing. Oh man, I got to have it. I got to have one of these. Now, this is when I didn't have a bunch of guns like this. I did not. In fact, this was my first big bore centerfire rifle. I think the only thing I had had up until that point were like 223, right? Maybe a yeah, I think so. And I was thinking the other day that I believe it's my first lever gun. 86, 87. Moved out here. And so anyway, I bought it sight unseen. I'd never seen one before. It had just come out and in limited numbers. This plain version, I think, either 3,000 or 5,000 of them or something like that. But and you still see them occasionally. Never fired. You know, you do occasionally at a gun show or something. They're collectible. And but so I just had to. And then I found one in a Shotgun News publication. Y'all remember that, many of you. A place that was supposed to have them, and I wasn't sure how can I get that. It was a weird, different world back then. And I dropped into a gun shop I had just discovered, really, in Clarksville, Tennessee, and I asked the guy how I could get one of these. He checked in and gave him the article or whatever, or the location number, and he ordered for me, got one. He's FFL. And that's how I got it. It's just so different, I mean, you can find something online now, a few clicks, and it's coming to your local gun shop, So it wasn't all that hard, but life was tough the days before the internet. It was tough. Not only did I walk to school uphill both ways in the snow, but we didn't have an internet. Yeah, am I recording? Yeah, unfortunately for you, right? Okay. Oh boy. I bet this will break a 2-liter. Yeah, I bet it'll break a pumpkin. Definitely will put a hole in one. I bet it'll roll a bowling pin. Woo, 2 of them. Oh man, I'm gonna pop a buffalo over there. I can. Ooh, hit him hard. Hit him hard. He's a 300 grain jacket at hollow points. How about a bowling pin down there? Ooh, knock him all the way down to the holler. And I think the bowling, or the pumpkin, needs another hit. Yep, that's the end of him. Yep, that's a beautiful thing. Really sad. People who don't shoot don't like firearms. They will probably never fire a 45-70. They will probably never operate a Winchester, an 1886, the supermodel of all Winchesters. They will never have this experience. It's a sad thing to think about, isn't it? It really is. And they don't even know what they're missing. So maybe it's not as bad as I think it is. They just don't know what they're missing. Ignorance is bliss, right? Oh man. So speaking of lever guns and cowboy guns, have any of you seen the on Amazon or MGM Plus or whatever it is, the Billy the Kid thing? I've watched 2 or 3 of the episodes, and I'd seen it advertised, and so I got to check that out. If it doesn't require another subscription to add to my 37 subscriptions, and so far it hasn't, but and I can't decide how much I like it. I think it's okay. In a world where there aren't very many westerns, that's the thing. The bar is a little bit lower, I mean, if there was a really good western movie coming out every week, a really good one, like Tombstone or, gosh, what's the name of, or Wyatt Earp with Kevin Costner, or, of course, those are blockbusters. What am I trying to think of? With Robert Duvall, Kevin Costner, but just if there are just some good ones, it'll come to me. But just some good ones coming along, like periodically, every month or something. It'd be a little different. Well, I'm not sure there's any good movies coming along now. I mean, really, I sound like an old guy, but the heyday of moviedom has been over for a while, hasn't it? For lots of reasons. But anyway, I've watched 2 or 3 of the episodes of it, and go back to childhood, and I got to read you my my history on Billy the Kid, and see how much of it is made up and how much of it is supposedly, true, nonfiction. I don't know. It looks like they might take some liberties there, which, those kinds of shows do. They get the basic facts correct, and then they add a lot of stuff that didn't have, so it's hard to know sometimes how much of it's factual. But so I don't know. My verdict's still out. I think it's okay. It's worth watching. It seems to be getting a little better as it moves along, or more interesting as it moves along. Nothing wrong with the acting. Again, the bar's kind of low on a Western. How many of you all who like Westerns like me have gone on Netflix, or Amazon, and you start looking through Westerns, and you run into one, I've talked about this before, but you run across a couple, hey, I haven't seen that before. I don't recognize those actors, but it's got a great, thumbnail, and, the guy's got a big peacemaker holding up and everything. He looks like a real serious desperado, and, the title of it is Gunfight in Tombstone, and yeah, hey, that might be decent, and you get into it, and in about 2 minutes you realize, oh no, this is another one of those C- grade movies, and you bail out. But so the bar is kind of low, but I don't know, this one might be worth watching. What do you, I'm asking, what do you think if you've seen it? Don't tell us all what happens necessarily. Well, I guess we know what happens, don't we? But what's your opinion of it if you've seen it? So I don't know. Like I say, the bar is so low, it doesn't take much for me to start thinking, well, this isn't bad, I'll watch it. It's sad, but it doesn't take much. So 45.70, that's a beaut, isn't it? Gosh. Oh yeah, one thing I was going to mention with if you have a question that you want to throw at me, and I may not see it, I may just answer it online, or I may save it for a sit down or whatever. Try to be clear about what you're asking. Just, I'm pretty dumb to begin with, so you got to pretend I'm a third grader, and it's got to be very, very clear, or I will never understand what you're asking. Just pretend. Well, it's true actually, but have that in your mind. Okay. All right. Nope, empty already. Yeah, I tell you, I try not to be too judgmental with people asking questions, and you see comments online, and people just type, or they don't, English is their second language, or whatever it might be. A translator doesn't come through very well, or they just type too fast, or they're drinking too much, But it is important to be clear, isn't it? I got a PhD in that. Not because I was an English major or taught English. If you have ever taught, particularly a subject like I taught, literature, that kind of thing, math would be a little different, but not really. The instructions got to be good. If you've ever been a teacher for a length of time, and you've given tests, quizzes, and all that kind of thing, you get a PhD in how to phrase a question clearly. Okay, now you may not always do it. You might make a mistake and goof up, but the thing is, you get immediate feedback if it's not clear. Because even if it is pretty clear, a 7th grade mind or a 4th grade mind or a 9th grade mind, they're going to have a harder time understanding it, right? It's got to be crystal clear. You can't be ambiguous at all. Yeah, I mean at all. And then they still might not understand it, right? I mean, it's funny. And then especially on a test, instructions, or a question on the test about the content, whatever it is you're asking. Because you got the other piece of that is that the young scholar is nervous. She's taken a test. Wow, I really learned my lesson on big exams like midterm exams and final exams. I gave, for 29 years, to give a midterm, and they were big, and then the final exam, and they would be almost always you would have the entire class, like the entire 9th grade or 10th grade or 7th grade, taking the test at the same time, the exam. They might be in one big hall, or they might be in different rooms, and you've got proctologists they used to call them. They're watching in their room, and if you're the teacher, it's your exam, you're just kind of circulating and answering questions or whatever, okay? And so either way, you've got 50 or 60 or 70 students, little humans, taking that exam at the same time. For obvious reasons, it's best if you can do it that way, right? And it's a big exam. Counts like, gosh, I think both places I taught it counted like 20-25% of the grade for the semester, that kind of thing. So guess what? Little Johnny and little Lizzie are going to be nervous. They're going to be nervous about this. And your instructions might be, it could be, what color is the bottle that I am going to hand you right now, or that is sitting on my desk, and this is the only bottle sitting on my desk. What color is the bottle? Okay, well, a quick answer from me, I might say, how about green? Or green and white. Yeah. Well, that's a good example. No, well, you mean the green and the white, or just the green? Well, now the label's got some blue on it. What do you mean exactly? You've got to be really, really clear. Okay, I could say, what color is the cap on this bottle? Okay, and if that was the question, you wrote it out, then there would be 2 or 3 hands go up and say, Mr. Jones, it's kind of white, but now you mean off-white? It's kind of an off-white. Is it white or off-white? It's kind of a beige looking. Yeah, I mean, you got to be so clear, and you can imagine on essay questions, yeah, right. And the thing is, you got 60 people taking this test at one time, and if everybody wants to ask 4 or 5 questions about something on that test, I mean, you can't even get around the answer. I mean, it becomes a farce. It's really funny. So I became kind of an ogre after a few years of that and running around. And of course, I was a proctor when I wasn't giving one. And so you get to learn that lesson a lot of different ways. There was one teacher I worked with in the 70s, and I ended up proctoring her test, and because she was in the same department, English. And oh my gosh, she was very bright, but whew, they never understood the instructions. They never understood the question. She ran around trying to answer it. I mean, she couldn't do it, and I didn't know it was my test. I wasn't sure what she wanted, it was her content and all that kind of thing, so, unless there was something obvious. And I mean, to tell you, it was funny. It was so. But anyway, over the years, I got really good at that, and in making out the test and writing the questions, all that in my mind. And then I would prep the students like a week before it was time for the exam. Okay, now here's the test, and I put things on the board I knew they'd ask, and just remember that, and all that, and said, now on test day, I'm not going to answer any questions. Unless there's a problem with your paper, like the ink was smudged and you can't even read half of it, unless there's something like that, or unless you're bleeding and you're losing consciousness, don't raise your hand. I would just really, I mean, I was half joking, but yeah, only half, okay? Because it was good for them, to really, look, you're on your own. Believe me, these instructions are very clear. Part of the test is understanding the instructions. So I would go through all that, and it was rare I had a question. If it was one of those crazy nervous questions like, Mr. Smith, up here at the top where it says, put your name here. Now, is this where we put our name? I mean, that's how bad it could be. So I felt like they needed that. They needed that push. They needed that tough love. It was good for them. Now, provided I was very, very clear, and I went through it, and you know, with a fine-tooth comb. I would take the exam myself. I would pretend in my brain I am a seventh grader, which is not hard to do for me, and I really would. And it really had almost no questions generally towards the last 4 or 5 years of my doing that. I was mean. It sounds meaner than it is. I really did develop that as an art. Otherwise, it would have been mean. You know, if I got a bunch of ambiguous questions and nothing makes sense, then, you know, couldn't do that. But so it was to the point where if you didn't know what I was asking, then you just weren't prepared for that question. That's why you didn't know. Okay, like if it was a geography question, for example, well, what's the capital of Kansas? The capital city of Kansas. Well, if you don't understand that question, it means you don't know what a Kansas is or what a capital city is, right? So you're going to miss it either way. All right, I'm just mean. Just mean. Boom. And if you're watching this and you're in my class, which is not likely, you had enough of me, right? You know what I mean. I did pretty well with that, okay? And it was out of survival. I mean, I did it because I just couldn't keep up with it. You know, it drives the teachers crazy. So I say you get immediate feedback. I mean immediate. If you've got an ambiguous question, if you were just a little too lackadaisical about some part of your test, maybe it's just you got a multiple choice section, you got a answer bank. It's on the bottom page or it's up here. You got a couple of answer banks maybe, and it's not clear which set of questions these answers go to or something like that. Well, that would also might just indicate the student wasn't ready for the test. But I mean, anything at all like that that's not 100% clear, you're going to hear about it like 100 times maybe. So anyway, yep, that's a long, boring story, but it was one of those things that I learned really well. Because if you didn't learn it, it's kind of like a Darwin thing, survival of the fittest. You died 1,000 deaths, and you paid for it if you didn't learn your lesson. And I watched, not that I'm smart or anybody else, but I watched a lot of teachers struggle with that and just go crazy and run themselves ragged during those exams, answering things. And it was things that were avoidable for the most part, if you just put more time and thought into it. Okay, let's shoot this 45-70 again. Oh man, big old bullets, big old bullets. Well, we're at, you know, getting close to the end of October. Before you know it, it's hard to believe it's going to be turkey time, November, isn't it? I've been trying to decide whether to go to Tulsa, the gun show there. Don't know. If I do, I might see you there. If I don't, I probably won't see you there. Yeah, pretty smart, aren't I? Okay, 45-70. Little trouble seeing that front sight. Maybe I need to put a red dot on it, you think? Nah, couldn't do that. Couldn't do that. I'm stepping on my brass before I pick it up. Yeah, what a beaut. What a beaut. So, anything else you're dying to know about? Oh gosh. Let's see. Let me give you some advice for youngsters before I let you go. Well, you know, speaking of the most ignorant people being the loudest, have you seen some of the people interviewed on the street, like in demonstrations or whatever recently? Oh, it's so pathetic. The things that people don't know and the lack of knowledge, the ignorance, things they're not even aware of when they're asked things. And yet they're the ones protesting the most vehemently and with the loudest mouth, and even, you know, ready to be violent perhaps, and they don't even know the facts and what's going on. And that is so typical of the human animal. Gosh, we got to avoid being that way. Really, we do. Whew, boy, a little learning is a dangerous thing, as I always say. And it seems like we as humans, or you all as humans, I'm not really human, but that humans tend to just be the most adamant and the loudest, the most fanatical about things that they're the least sure about. Sometimes they might think they're sure, but the things that they know the least about or don't really know are the things that we get crazy about, right? And it's just weird. Hello, Mr. Airplane. So anyway, yeah, speaking of school, middle school, young people, I've given you this advice maybe before. Don't don't be embarrassed about how dumb you were, ignorant you were, you know, as a third grader, an eighth grader, a 10th grader, whatever, or a college student, even if you were kind of dumb and did dumb things, said dumb things. Maybe you demonstrated in the street about dumb things and you were totally ignorant about the real world. You know, just try to do better, and don't beat yourself up over things you know you said or did. As long as you have seen the light, as long as you have continued learning, right? I may have mentioned this before. I used to suspect people that were in my middle school classes, because I would see them all the way through high school and coming back from college and everything at ball games. Always fun to talk to them, but there were some I could tell they were a little sheepish, you know, and you know, I just know, because I got to know enough of them well enough that I know that's part of the dynamic, that they just felt like they were so dumb in middle school, you know, and that, you know, once you mature into a big sophomore student in high school, you know, or a senior, I was that way. You look back on your 7th grade or 8th grade or 9th grade as, oh God, I was so dumb, you know. And you can just read their minds sometimes. They see a teacher they had in middle school come down the hallway, and it's like, oh man, I was such an idiot in his class or her class or whatever, you know, or whatever. I was such a dork, and I bet he's thinking about that paper I wrote, you know, on To Kill a Mockingbird, or, you know, or that day I didn't know anything. We were supposed to have read that chapter, or, you know, that's just natural. And there might be teachers who are remembering that, and there's some things you do remember maybe, but I don't remember much of that. You know, when I see a student, even today or whatever, I kind of have a vague memory of whether they were, I don't know, an excellent student or not, but I don't remember the goofy things they said. Everybody is goofy. Well, all of us are goofy, even as adults to some extent, right? But when you're in a middle school, you're in high school, you're a developing human. You know, you are not human yet, and if we ever are. But anyway, don't obsess about dumb things you said or even did, as long as you've gotten smarter and you know, kind of thing. So just keep that in mind. We all were exceedingly dumb and ignorant in those lower grades, for sure. And some people never get out of it, right? Yeah, it's just the way it is. I could always relate to yeah, middle schoolers and high schoolers, because I was no genius in high school, middle school, and I got in some trouble here and there, and so, you know, I could kind of relate to that. Even the guys that gave me trouble, to some extent, that were a little bit of a discipline issue, I had to, you know, lay down the law and be strict with them. But I understood them. I didn't hate them for it. I didn't have ill feelings about it, you know, kind of, because I was just like them, or I was a lot like them in some ways. So it's the way it is. Yeah. Can I load another mag here of 22s? Let's do that. Yeah. So hope you got your Halloween costume picked out. I really do. I'm worried about some of you who think you're too old to go trick or treating. You know, you're really never too old for that, right? Well, I don't know. I guess I'd better not do that. I used to, that was another thing I would do with my students. I would make them think I was coming to their house on Halloween, you know, and I would tell them what candy I wanted, make sure they had some ready for me. Like, I would make them think I knew where they lived. I guess their address was in the handbook, like I would know or care where they lived, but I was so mean. I was so mean. I was especially mean to them if they were gullible. You can about imagine the things that I would say. If they believed me, they probably did worry about it. You know, oh my God, home at the dinner table. Mom, Mr. So-and-so says he's coming to the house tomorrow night. It's on Halloween. And he wants a Reese's cup, or he wants a certain kind of candy, you know. I don't know. You think he's really coming? I lived about 50 miles from them, the school. All right. Silence is golden. Oh yeah, there you go. It's a golden trigger and a barrel. Let's well, let me work with this sight again. I'm gonna hold fairly square on that gong. See if it's going where it ought to. All right, let's try something close here that has not been shot. Like that cleat. Oh man, that went right where the sight was. Except the sight is as black as that plate and I can't see it too well. Sight seems right on. What about long range? Alabama holster? Yeah, we're right in the state of Alabama. How about you, Silencer Central? Boom! Yeah. Let's see if it's an ambidextrous firearm. Yeah, I think it is. Pretty cool, still no malfunctions. Yeah, that's not bad look. It's different. Some of you probably are ready to throw up looking at it. But I don't know. I kind of like it. Yeah, for what it is, you know. Let's say on the bottom, read instruction manual before using. Oh no, don't tell anybody I broke the law. I didn't read the instruction manual. I assumed I knew how it worked. Okay, I'll take a couple more shots of 45-70 and then I will get out of here. I don't think I had anything else to bore you with, and I don't want to bore you too much if I'm going to do a woods sit down every now and then. Seems like there was something else, so I don't know, probably not. I tell you, it is just gorgeous. It is gorgeous. That's why I'm out here today. I picked the best day of the week, and if I can, it is heavenly. Nothing like the fall. It's not late fall, and the leaves haven't changed a lot yet. Can you all see? Yeah, not that way. They're still pretty green. A lot of it falling, but just gorgeous. The air is clear. I don't know if you can see the air or not, but it's clear, and there's probably no humidity at all. Well, I guess there's always a little, but just the perfect time of the year. You know what it makes me want to do? Makes me want to shoot this time of year. Makes me want to shoot some muzzle loaders too. I really thought I'd probably finish with muzzle loading for the fall, because we're going to be having, you know, irregular cold weather and all that. But I tell you what, it's supposed to be pretty nice this week, and I think next week. So who knows? Might get a charcoal burner back out. Let me fire a couple more through this baby. 1886, big chunk. Does that sound like a bank vault or what? Now these are not for the faint of heart. These are heavy guns. I mean, that's a chunk. That's right, it really is. All right. That's what's always funny. There's one of the Dalton brothers that carried one of these. Dalton. One of the Dalton brothers was famous for carrying the 1886, and I think, in fact, you know, that photograph you might have seen where they tried to rob two banks in Coffeyville, Kansas, but they all got shot up and most of them killed by the townspeople. And they got 4 of them laid out on the board porch there, and they've got I think it's an 1886 lying across. It's that was whoever that carried it, but they were not big guys, and looked like at all. And they carried a big old 1886. I think this exact model, the barrel length and everything. So it's a lot of gun. But boy, I tell you what, if you could carry it, of course they're on horseback, but if you could handle one of these things and carry it, quote unquote, on your horse and on your person when you needed to, you had a lot of firepower in terms of energy. 45-70, big chunk of lead, take down anything. And then you had 8 or 9 rounds in the tube of it. So, wow, a high capacity sharps, kind of thing. All right. Designed by who? Yep, John Browning. Oh, yeah. Yep, that's a good one to end on. Big old 45-70. It's been my pleasure to fire a lot of 45-70 in my life, and to load a lot of 45-70 in my life. I used to load it, well, I still do when I load it. A couple of winters ago, I loaded a bunch, over 1,000 rounds of it, on my Dillon 550B, a progressive reloader. It's almost a joke. You might be a redneck if you load 45-70 on a progressive press. That means you shoot a lot of it, I guess, right? And I do. I have a lot of 45-70s to feed, and I really do. And I got a variety. That reminds me, I got some more from Steinel. A 405 grain bullet. They got even some subsonic, but it's a nice. The 405 grain bullet was kind of the standard, the original 45-70, and they put some kind of coating on there, which I like. Reduces leading. I'm not sure what they call that, but that's my favorite bullet, I think, and that was introduced in the Trapdoor, Springfield, and then they later offered. They started loading 500 grain bullets too. So you had even more weight and more power, but 405 grains is enough, really, I think. But I got some 500 grain bullets, and they're sweet. Got them in regular powder, modern powder, and in black powder. So I typically don't shoot black powder in my lever guns. Just if I decide to go out and shoot some black powder, and the single shots I do, of course, easy to clean, even black powder. Not a problem. The sharps or a Remington rolling block, just whatever, high wall. But I did shoot black powder cartridges in the 1873 Uberti for years doing cowboy action shooting. And I just decided, okay, I'm just going to do it because I wanted to shoot Frontier cartridges and shoot black powder all across the board, shotgun, rifle, handguns. And so I needed to shoot black powder in one of those lever guns, either the Marlin 1894 or the Uberti, the 1873. And so I chose that 1873. Now I was gum this one up, and it really wasn't as bad as I thought. I didn't take that thing totally apart and clean it. I mean, take the side plate off in the toggle system as much as I probably should have. I would just spray Balisol in there, and it did fine. I cleaned the barrel and cleaned the areas I could get to easily, but I didn't take it totally apart. Really, just rarely, once every year or two. Probably didn't do it more than 3-4 times totally, and then it wasn't even needed necessarily. I would just spray Balisol liberally down in the action. I did that with my Colts. I didn't take them apart totally after every match. Oh my gosh, I would never have fired Frontier cartridge, black powder class, if I had to do that. But I would, I sprayed in the action, upside down and around the trigger. I would just spray it in there and down in with the hammer, So I would just spray it in there to make sure that there was nothing in there that was going to cake up or harden, cause any rust or anything like that. And then, I just would not break them down totally very often at all. And when I did, they did fine. So I was kind of a lazy, lazy about it, a shirker. It was kind of, in a way, I guess, but it worked. If I take that 1873 apart today, and that's been, I don't know, 15, 20 years since I did cowboy action shooting, I guess. And the Colts I used, they're just perfect inside, And so anyway, I don't know, nobody asked that. Why'd I explain it? So anyway, the old Mark IV, if you have an interest in a Ruger pistol like this in 22, I highly recommend the Mark IV. You will not be happy with the way the others break down, and believe me, okay? But these things are a dream. They are a dream to break down. So, as my buddy said, it only took them 50 years to figure out how to fix that problem, right? But they fixed it. Better late than never. So anyway, the old Mark IV with the Banish 22 is pretty quiet and a lot of fun to shoot. So a little bit of a contrast today, huh? Yeah, a beautiful 45-70 and then this space age ugly thing, right? Both are fun to shoot. So I will let you go, and I'm gonna do something else for the rest of the day. I'm not sure what it is. It's probably highly secret. So what I might do tonight though. My wife's out of town. Well, not that she has to be out of town for me to watch a Western. But I will crank up maybe the Billy the Kid and finish it, or I don't know how many episodes there are, but I might, when it gets dark, I can't work on the farm here and shoot and do things like that. I might just have a little cowboy evening, really, a little cowboy evening with Billy the Kid. My first impression is Billy the Kid. Of course, he, like a lot of people that become famous, like that Jesse James or whoever, they get kind of caught up in the times. In a way, they're a victim of the times quite often. Like in Billy the Kid's case, it was the war, getting hooked up with Quantrill's Raiders, and just different things, and then not getting amnesty or trying to get out of it and can't really quit. You've already broken the law, or they're after you now, so you might as well keep going. That circumstances just make a big difference. Almost any of us could, under the right circumstances, kind of go a different path. It's just it's easy, and it's all just as it's easy too if you have the right guidance, the right mentor, parents or friends or whatever, to be put on a good path, a positive path. You can, life is kind of random that way, but anyway, Billy the Kid, strange. I knew enough about him. I remember enough about his mom and the losing parents and all that kind of thing, and moving out of New York and the financial issues and all that, and ending up in the West. And but so anyway, just the circumstances. But I also have read that he was, it may not have been accurate either, that he was really ruthless. He was a ruthless killer. And a lot of the movies have made him out to be a hero, and kind of like Bonnie and Clyde, that they were ruthless killers. And that's one of the, and there were movies that made them look like heroes. You want to identify with them. You want to be them, That was a cool thing about the movie that Kevin Costner did a couple of years ago. And I'm not going to be able to come up with a title to that either. It's on, I think it's on Netflix. And if not, it's on Amazon. But where he and his partner are chasing down Bonnie and Clyde. He plays Frank Hamer. What's the name of that? But it's really well done. Oh man, if you haven't seen that, it's really well done. And Bonnie and Clyde are not made out to be heroes. There's no focus from their perspective at all. They're just ruthless killers, and it's really great to see that done. And I don't know if the Billy the Kid story needs to be done that way, because I quite honestly, I've not read enough about it, and I'm not sure how much is even known. But it looks maybe like they're falling into that same trap, if it is a trap, and making him a little more sympathetic than maybe he really was. I don't know. I don't know. I need to read some more about him. I need to revisit the history or whatever's believable about him. But anyway, I'm going to watch it. Like I say, the bar is pretty low. Even a B-grade Western, I can enjoy it sometimes. Just depends how bad it is or how average it is. Hey, look at me. I'm one to talk. The zombie movie I was in, that one wasn't even a B-grade movie. What was that? Some of you have seen that. Strain 100. That's about a C-grade, D-grade movie. Yeah. But we used to do that for fun. They thought it'd be fun. They asked us. But anyway, and obviously I can't act. And so I'm the pot calling the kettle black. Get right down to it. But the acting looks okay in that series. I'm not familiar with the fellow playing Billy the Kid. He looks a little familiar, but I'm not familiar with him, I don't think. And he's a decent actor and kind of an interesting look. Billy the Kid had kind of a goofy look about him. You look at the pictures. So anyway, rambling. So shut me up. All right, I got guns to clean and things to do, people to see, cats to feed, cats to humor. Oh man, Slam Fires. You all know Slam Fire, many of you. If you don't, he's one of my cats, the inside-outside cat. He's the character, part Maine Coon, the big gray guy. Pretty boy. He, when weather turns a little chilly, he just finds me. I tell you, I've got a recliner, power recliner. I work out of a lot. I don't recline back very often, but unless they get on my lap, then I do. They seem to like it better, and I might as well. I can't get work done. They're on my lap. But he comes hunting me, boy. He comes in the house when it's cool, and comes in and gets in my lap. Like 2 or 3 times a day sometimes if I'm around. He's so funny. And many of you have seen him at the beginning of a couple, 3 videos we've done. Just a beautiful fellow, a good guy. He's such a good cat. I can't resist him. If he wants to get up my lap, you come in, he'll sit there and just look up, okay. And so, I don't know. And again, it's just random. People ask me about him all the time. When are you going to get him back in a video? Well, I don't ever get him in a video. He just shows up, okay? And he never comes over here. It's only at the main shooting range that he's around there, and occasionally we're setting up for a video, and he'll just come over, see what we're doing, and jump up on the table. That's the only time he ends up in a video. It's all his doing. And so if we're about ready to start, and here he is, I'll tell John, let's just start while Slam Fire's here. People like him, and so we do that occasionally. But it's his choice. That's why if you don't know cats, I've learned a lot about them in the last 10 years. But when you see these pictures of cats or videos of cats and all the cat things people do, they film it the thing about a cat, different from a dog, you can't really train a cat. They'll lie about herding cats. It's real. You can't herd a cat. And what makes a cat cute, if you like cats at all, or interesting, is they will get places, and if you see a picture someone's posted or a video, that person, the owner of the cat, probably didn't put them there. That's the thing. You think, well, what's so clever about that? You got a cat up on top of the refrigerator in that pot or whatever it might be. Well, you just set the cat up there and took a picture. I'm not impressed, right? Well, they probably didn't do that. You can't, you don't put a cat anywhere. Cats get somewhere because they want to be there. That's about the only time they end up somewhere, because they want to be there. Even if it's somewhere they like, they won't let you put them there. It's so funny. Like Slamfire loves to jump up in my lap and then lie there a while. And he'll look at me, you know, I'll pet him a little bit. He's just a good boy. But now if he's down there walking around or something, and I just pick him up and sit down and put him in my lap, he'll jump away immediately. Both of them will. You know, they both want to get in my lap, but they don't want to be put there. It's like a big deal when we put Frontline on every month. You know, you got to corral them and hold them tight, you know, and, you know, they're lap cats, but they want it to be their choice. I can relate. I'm kind of that way. You know, I don't like wearing a seatbelt. I wear one. I've worn one before it was law, but it was my choice. Then when they passed the law about it, I didn't like that. I still don't like being forced to do that. It's like being forced to wear a helmet. I want it to be my choice. You know, make that choice. So things that really just affect me. So anyway, I'll talk to y'all later, and I'm going to let you go because I am getting really the rambles, and I'm sorry about that. I might even shoot some after y'all leave. That'd be rude, wouldn't it? I guess I better not. I'll see you later. Really appreciate y'all coming around. And again, one thing people have been commenting, I guess I commented on it in that sit-down video. I got to call this something, I guess, Q&A, something. Was about being unsubscribed and all that kind of thing. So make sure you're subscribed, ring the bell, because so many people are not being notified, just the way it is. And check that out, and I appreciate you watching. I promise you, just because you're watching me doesn't mean I will eavesdrop and watch you, okay, at your house. You wouldn't want that. Life is good.